Before I start, I just want to say that this game is good, and those who think it are bad are just wrong. They can have their opinions, don't get me wrong, but theirs are just wrong. I want to talk about this game and why I love it, but also I want to talk about why some people just seem to hate it for the completely wrong reasons. The main issue this game has isn't even the game's fault. It's the player bases. A lot of people were expecting this game to be Left 4 Dead 3, and that was their first big mistake. Yes, this game has the same core mechanics of get to safe room while killing zombies with a few, oh, you're gonna have to fight a horde here events. There are two core features in Back 4 Blood that completely changed the gameplay though, and those two features are the card system and the money system. I'll start with the simpler system for those slower viewers. The money system is basically, while looting, instead of just looking for attachments and weapons and ammunition, you also be looking for copper. Copper isn't useful until you're in a safe room, where you can buy upgrades for grenades, health packs, tool packs. You can even hold more grenades or hold more health items based on those, or buy weapons and attachments, or ammo or health. In Left 4 Dead, when you got to a safe room, you would normally get a few health packs so everybody could get up a little bit of health. You'd get some ammunition, and you'd get a new gun or two. But in this game, I have to actively ask teammates and work with them and be like, hey, I'm running a so-and-so build, so it would be really useful to get this item upgraded. Could you lend me some cash? Yeah, it only changes up the gameplay a little bit, but one of the key words I use there is I was using a so-and-so build. This brings me to the next big change in this game, the card system. The card system is basically a system of, hey, you completed some levels, here's some points. Now you're in the hub world. You go over to a vendor, you spend some of those points, and you get some cards. These cards can be used for specific things, such as shotgun builds, medical builds, even grenade builds. And hell, you could even make a build basically about getting as much money as possible. These cards are what make the game replayable. In Left 4 Dead, after I've played, I don't know, a campaign like 2 or 3 times, it kind of gets stale. In this game, I can play a campaign multiple times because I'm messing around with different decks and trying out different playstyles. The next thing I want to talk about is difficulty. In Left 4 Dead, there was about 5 or 6 difficulties that I can remember, and you can really find where you want to sit at most of the time, and then if you want a real good challenge, you can try the hardest difficulty. This game has 3 difficulties: Recruit, Veteran, and Nightmare. They should be renamed to Normal, Hard, and Doom Eternal's Nightmare difficulty. This game is very difficult, and right now it's probably not the most balanced. There are way too many special infected spawn rates, and it's bad that I've had multiple times on the same level where at once I have to deal with a horde, 4 tall boys, and a fat boy. Most people will probably spend their time on Recruit and Veteran difficulty, and only leaving Nightmare as a fun, oh, we might as well try it, and then die on the first level. This game is hard, and I like it, but it does need some nerfs in some departments. But let me just run you down on the first act and the first 2 levels. Let's say you're somebody with Left 4 Dead experience, so you know the basis of this game. You go in, you finish the first level, but you're definitely not going to be passing the second level. No matter how well you did in the first level, whether you went through it almost perfectly or you went through it barely by the skin of your teeth, it won't matter because in the first minute of the second level, you're faced with a boss. Now, the way the card system works, you'll only have 3 cards at this point, maybe 4 if you failed the first level. That is almost nothing in this game. This boss is a giant bullet sponge and will destroy your team if you're not working together. Once you get it to half health though, it does run away, so you may have a feeling of safety for a while, but right at the end of the level, it shows up again and you can either flee past it or you can stay and fight it. Either way, you're probably not making it past. I've beaten this game on Veteran just recently and now trying to do Nightmare just to get that sweet SWAT outfit for Hoffman. I've beaten levels with only 2 people before where I've failed at the very start with 4 people. It's all about how good you are and how well you communicate with your team. The last thing I want to talk about is characters. I'm going to be honest, most of the characters are just completely horrible, annoying idiots. I'm going to describe each character from left to right in just one sentence. First, we have the uplifting wimp new guy. Next is the basic army guy. Then the annoying white girl, who is rude to everybody. The old cool mom. A doctor who likes food, literally the best character. A hunter veteran, and a punk kid. Why is Hoffman the best character, you may ask? Well, he's the only one I care about because he's the only one I know anything about. Hoffman has a lot of voice lines talking about his past. He talks about how his father was somewhat abusive. He talks about how his father prepared him for all of this by telling him about all the times that outbreaks have happened before. He's a crazy conspiracy theorist, but he's the only one who has a story. Either most people's voice lines either just suck or just have nothing to do with what's going on. Evangelo has the basic, take that, and oh, I think they're getting too much of me voice lines that I just don't care about. Holly's just rude to everybody, including Hoffman, for no reason. The only story voice line I've ever heard from her is really just dumb and annoying. During the outbreak, she just kind of ran away and let her family die. Yeah, Walker says something like, oh, we all would have done something different, but she just ran. Jim's probably in second due to his voice lines being just kind of cool and not really annoying. He doesn't have many story voice lines, I would say, but he does just kind of have those, oh, that makes sense for him to say voice lines. Doc is probably in third just because she's interesting for what she does. She's a doctor, so obviously she's going to have something interesting to say about what's going on. I also don't want to hear anybody in the comments be like, oh, you just don't like Evangelo because he's happy all the time. I played Lewis and Ellis in Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Those are literally the most happy characters at all times. The only reason I ended up playing them was because they were written so well and so entertaining to listen to. One thing that I find very interesting about all of the characters is they all have their own abilities. Each character has a team ability, a somewhat passive ability, and then an ability that only they have. Let's look at Hoffman's abilities. For his passive, every time he kills a Ridden, there's a chance the Ridden will drop ammo of some sorts. It's pretty useful, but it's not overpowered. His team ability is everybody has 10% more ammo, and for himself, he can carry one more offensive item. Hoffman's abilities are kind of random for him, but for Jim and Doc, their abilities are kind of focused on where they came from. Doc's passive is that once per level, she can heal each cleaner for 25 health. Her team effect is that everybody takes 25% less trauma damage, and her own effect is that she does plus 20% healing efficiency. Since Jim's a hunter, he's pretty good at weak spot damage and does pretty well with a sniper. The reason this is so good is it doesn't force you to play as a role. I can be Jim and play as a medic and play as Hoffman and be a melee person. It doesn't matter. The cards will allow me to do it. The only benefit to playing as a specific character to play as a specific class is really only needing one less card. There's plenty of cards that give you a bit more accuracy and a bit more weak spot damage, just like Jim. And there's plenty of cards that give you plenty more healing efficiency, just like Doc. I really don't have many complaints with this game. One of my only complaints is that on the higher difficulties, you don't get any extra cards for playing on a higher difficulty. You have to start the same way with the same amount of cards as you would on Recruit if you're playing on Nightmare. They should probably do something about this, because starting a level with only 1 or 2 cards, and then having to deal with an ogre the next level, really isn't fair on Nightmare, but is achievable on Recruit. One idea I have to fix this comes from the acts. The way the acts work is that on Act 1, you get 1 card, and then you get to pick a card. On Act 2, you get 1 card, and then you get to pick 2 cards. In Act 3, you get to pick 1 card and pick 3 cards. I would say on Recruit, keep it that way. Veteran, maybe keep it that way, or give us 1 more card pick for each act. And then on Nightmare, either give us 2 or 3 more card picks. The difficulty is probably fine and not much needs to be done there. I do enjoy the challenge that Nightmare gives me, but oh boy do I hate when I have to deal with 5 special infected at once. If you get unlucky, you can get a bunch of special infected that trap half your team, and then the other half has to try to free them while dealing with a horde, and it could just be real unfair sometimes. So some nerfing definitely does need to be done to the spawn rate of special infecteds, or control them somehow. Hey, if you made it to this part of the video, I just want to thank you for sticking out through the whole thing. I know this kind of thing was just kind of slammed together in a giant mess, but I kind of just wanted to review this game and talk about it with other people, because some people have really bad opinions on video games. Just wanted to say, if you made it this far, maybe check out other stuff I do. I don't do too many videos like this, but maybe you'll enjoy the other stuff.